my name is Daniel Vargas, and I'm in Geology Section 111.03. Today I'll be talking about the Discussion Board Assignment 11, and we will be talking about whether dam can have positive effects or negative effects regarding the environment, specifically regarding the river biology, urban planning, sediment flow, effective flood control methods, and its accountability. Starting first, in terms of the river biology, a dam can have a very strong, significant impact on the wildlife, such as through its effects on turbidity, noted by bioscience. For example, dams accumulate a lot of sediment because they have a wall, and that wall not just only contains water but also sediment, which can impact the turbidity of that particular reservoir. But it can also impact the turbidity downstream because a lot of water downstream, or a lot of places in the river deltas, are depraved of that sediment, which can be necessary for algae, which forms a lot of the basis of the food chain, which can then deprive animals up in the food chain. In terms of urban planning, there's a lot of considerations in the fact that it can really allow a metro area to grow, or allow areas to have cheap electricity, which is crucial to economic growth. For example, electricity produced, if you were to levelize cost of electricity worldwide for hydrogen or hydropower, it is 0.05 per kilowatt hour. That varies on whatever in different parses. For example, the install cost can be around $1,000 to $5,000 per kilowatt hour. It can vary massively because of whether you use a small dam or a large dam. Can lead to standardization or have to use custom parts. But they can achieve a very high efficiency of 90%. This can be also, there's a lot of concerns about whether you have from 10 to 30% a cost coming up from the upfront capital, being regarding whether the dam is close to previously established electricity transportation, like the electrical grid, and that can be pretty impactful. But it can also impact the urban planning. For example, you might have to move people away in areas where the reservoir flow is being built up. There are also things like sediment flow. Sediment flow can also be severely impacted, reducing and increasing in certain places, but this can be mitigated and preserved to be what it was previous to installation through methods like sluicing, which is allowing certain types of controlled flows that allow sedimentation to pass in addition to the water, allowing turbidity currents to go and not retaining them, allowing the sediment to pass. And also in favorable geometries and geographies, allowing the bypassing of sediment, which essentially allows rates of sedimentation to be in the same post and after installation, roughly, according to an abstract and sustainable sediment management in the reservoirs and regulated rivers experienced from 5 different continents. In terms of effective flood control, there is a lot of there's different types of dams. Like, for example, when it's retention dams can be built to slow down or control or even block the passage of water. And even in these modern day retention dams will be built with protocols for failure in case those dams do fail or are made to be safe. They can be built from different materials like rocks and even concrete. And they can pose an effective method, although they're sometimes overwhelmed by certain freak storms. For example, once in a 500 events or once in 1,000 events, which can overwhelm the capacity. Overall, dams serve, I think, a very important part of building our future climate conscious energy grid. Climate change is a very pressing need, and I think that dams and hydropower or whatever that provides will be a very increasingly economical but also necessary part to mitigate some of the downfalls of solar, which is variable electricity, which we need constant for the low range. And I think that dams, while they have a lot of impacts on the rivers regarding the wildlife that allows to live, can be mitigated with proper consideration towards such techniques like bypassing sediments or turbidity or currents. Bypassing turbidity currents and sluicing. Thank you.